Whether you're a weekend warrior looking to get out every now and then just to make your lawn look okay, or you're somebody like me who wants a thick green beautiful carpet, in this video I'm going to talk about 3 steps you can take this spring to get the best lawn you've ever had. This spring has been exceptionally wet, cold. It's been a roller coaster of hot, then cold, then tons of rain. We've had things all over the place. I'd say it's unusual, but at this point it's just usual because that's how the things usually go in the springtime for us. So you might notice your lawn looks great right now. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of people are thriving. However, if you don't maintain that and you don't know the steps to take to continue that, things can take a turn for the worse. Step 1, and probably one of the most important steps you're gonna take this spring, is fertilizing. Everyone knows you need to fertilize your grass to make it look nice, but the timing and what you use make a big difference, so let's jump into it. For cool season grass like I have, the most important time to fertilize is the fall. However, it's also important to put down a few applications or maybe just one application in the spring depending on your wants and your needs. I'll put a link in the description of this video for a video I made last year that's gonna give you all the information you're gonna need on choosing the right fertilizer for your lawn. As far as the products I put down on my lawn to get to where I am right now, it all started last fall with my dormant feed that I did with chicken poo. So far this spring, I put down 1 liquid application of Green Charge 2600, which gave me about a ½ pound of nitrogen, and I also put down Cytogrow for root development. Before the summertime, after the seed heads are all gone, I'm also gonna put down 1 more application of about a ½ pound of nitrogen. And if you can follow along with that, your grass is gonna really thrive. If you don't wanna use the same products I use, that's totally fine, but make sure that you try to put down at least 1 application in the spring to get around a ½ pound to 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. If you haven't fertilized your grass yet, that's okay. We're in late May right now, and many people just don't get around to it, and you lose track of time, life gets in the way, that's okay. However, my goal every year is to put down 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So if you haven't fertilized yet, it's not too late. You can do that right now and get really good results. If you're not into math very much, I'll also put a helpful link in the description that's gonna help you calculate how much nitrogen you're getting from your fertilizer. You just type in the analysis, whatever numbers are on the bag, and it's gonna tell you how much to put down to get the ideal amount for your situation. That second really important step that we want to take right now, which is in late May, is prevention. Preventing things like weeds or disease problems that are going to pop up later on. Lawn fungus and disease are things that are incredibly common, and one thing that's really helpful to help you out when it comes to preventing disease and fungus is understanding the rule of 150. Lawn fungus is something that can take over and ruin your entire lawn, and understanding the rule of 150 is important. Basically, the rule of 150 means if your high temperature for the day plus your humidity is approaching 150 combined, you're at a high risk of disease. That's when those things start to thrive, and that's when that fungus starts to take over. If you're at the point where you're about 130 to 150, that's where you want to start watching it. And below 130, your risk is low for disease and fungus. So, understanding that and using a preventative fungicide, that can be something that's really beneficial in protecting your lawn. If you want to go the low maintenance route and you're not really worried about that, then don't worry about it. There's a chance you may get some fungus, but if you have a manicured, well-maintained lawn like I do that's cut really short, that disease pressure is a little bit higher because of that. You want to make sure you really limit your use of fungicides and only put them down when you need them, because they can have a negative effect on the beneficial bacteria in your soil. But if you start to notice you have disease problems or fungus popping up, these are my 2 favorite products to use. 1 is propiconazole, and 2, 3,3,3,6-F. There are 2 different groups of fungicides, so you're not going to build up a tolerance. And you can get this at domyown.com. I'll put a link in the description. Aside from managing fungus and disease, we also want to get under control the weed issues that are going to pop up throughout the spring and into the summertime. Weeds are what you make of them. A weed is defined as a plant that's in a location that's undesirable for you. So if you like dandelions, you want to feed the bees, then leave them if you want to. If you don't mind having grassy weeds, they don't bother you, then leave them as well. But if you want to take care of them the way I do, I like having a weed-free green carpet of grass, and what I do to get that done is I use a handheld weed puller and my stand-up weed puller. And I do an analysis of my lawn every few days. I'll walk around, I'll see what's popping up, because I don't use pre-emergence and I don't use liquid weed killers or any kind of weed killers on my lawn. So I just pull them manually. If it's a small weed, I'll use my handheld weed puller. And if it's a bigger, more established weed, I'll use my stand-up Ames weed puller. And between those two, I've completely eradicated weeds from my lawn. Probably the most important when it comes to prevention is preventing grubs. Trust me when I tell you, you want to prevent these things and not wait to have a problem before you treat them. The last thing you want to do when it comes to prevention is prevent your grass from going dormant. If you want it to be nice and green throughout the summer heat and stress, you're going to have to give it some water. And ideally, you want to put down about 1 inch of water on your grass per week, whether it be from rainfall, irrigation, you pulling out a hose, whatever it may be. If you don't want to do that and you don't care if your lawn goes dormant, then don't water it. You don't have to do that. However, if you don't irrigate your lawn, you're more prone for weeds to come in and take over because those things thrive very easily in poor conditions. If your grass does go dormant, don't worry, it's not dead. If it goes brown in the summertime, once you get rainfall and cooler temperatures, it's gonna green back up again. So if you wanna go the low maintenance route, just let it go dormant and then come back on its own. My plan for watering throughout the growing season is to water 3 times a week, and I do a deep watering to give myself a little bit over about 1 inch per week of water that goes down in my lawn. You can do the same if you want to, but as I mentioned, water is expensive. I don't have to pay for mine because I can pump it right out of my lake, which makes it really easy for me, and I have an in-ground irrigation system, so I just flip a switch. If you have to pull hoses out or pay for your water, you may not want to do that. That third step, and as I've mentioned before, probably the most important step in maintaining a healthy, beautiful lawn is proper mowing. And when it comes to mowing, if you mow once a week, that's okay. Your grass is gonna look decent, but you're probably gonna cut off more than 1/3 of that grass blade. So trying to follow the 1/3 rule, try not to cut off more than 1/3 of the grass blade. So if it's 3 inches long, don't cut it any lower than 2 inches, depending on your grass type. Maybe 2 inches is too low anyway. But if you can get in a good routine of cutting your grass at least a couple times a week, I mow my backyard every other day. I'm a little nutty for that, I get that. But if you have a standard lawn that's 3 or 4 inches long, if you can cut it twice a week, one, you're gonna decrease the amount of weeds that you have because weeds spread by spreading their seeds. Weeds are not gonna be able to grow up big enough to be able to put out seeds and start to spread. So that's one benefit. Benefit number 2 is that if you cut with a nice sharp blade, you're clipping off the tip of that grass blade, which is gonna heal nice and easily, and you're gonna be less prone to disease pressure. If you're cutting with a dull blade, it's gonna be frayed, it's gonna give you a whitish kind of pale look to your overall grass, and disease and fungus and those things are gonna thrive on those frayed ends of your grass. So make sure you're cutting with a sharp blade. I sharpen my mower blade every month. So the first of every month, I take my mower blade off, I sharpen it, and that's one of the most important things you can do to get an overall healthy, beautiful lawn. Thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.